Hey guys, how are you? It's Jack here from TRU Off Grid and URT Solar, and welcome to our first installation video. Pretty excited to finally document one of our small projects. So today, here in front of me, I have the EcoFlow 4 kilowatt power kit. This is a very simple, easy plug and play system for any DIY off-grid, cottage, cabin, van, RV, and just general power backup system for your home. We're going to be installing this on the TRU Off Grid showcase barn here in downtown Milton, and I'm pretty excited, so let's get right into it. Here is the power kit unboxed. This is all the external cabling included in the power kit. I'll run you through each of these here in a moment. We have the AC to DC distribution panel, the main EcoFlow power hub, and the battery system. So these here are two 2 kilowatt LFP batteries. Nice and stackable, very scalable. We have the battery connector, a very simple plug and play. So let's dive a little deeper into our cabling components. On here we have our AC in, we got our AC out. We have our PV in with the standard MC4 connectors from our solar array. We have our RJ45, essentially the Ethernet cable, two of those 20 feet. That goes to our monitor, which I'll touch on that. We've got our DC out, and then here is the alternator input, and run that right into the power hub. Moving on to our AC DC smart distribution panel. Very slick. There's our knockouts. You can see the fuses and the breakers there. Backer open here. Check out the internal side. And last but not least, we have the EcoFlow Powerkit Smart Console. Have the ability to monitor our power kit as it's performing. Plan is to mount the power kit on this wall here where we have lots of room. Here's what I was mentioning before. So this is the sub panel that's feeding the TRU Off Grid showcase barn. We're gonna swap out this 15 amp breaker and place it into the smart distribution panel as its own sub power source. We're gonna leave this 20 amp breaker on just for if I want to run a heater or very, very high draw applications. So anyway, so this 15 amp breaker has about 5 receptacles throughout the building in which I'm going to run, say here, a fridge. I'll run a fan, I'll run my laptops, all my electronics, you name it. More so smaller to medium scale draw applications. This 50 amp here is powering my hot tub, so that's out of the picture. But yeah, no, that's essentially it. And then the distribution panel is going to go right here, feed through this knockout into the panel knockout. I've already got the mounting feet on here. It's very simple. The distribution panel, along with the power hub and smart console, all come with very, very easy mounting equipment, just a couple screws. Here's the mounting equipment for power hubs. There's a simple bracket. I'm gonna put the monitor console right here. A little base support here on the power hub. So let's get started wiring some things up. Get that console running, see how it works. We're gonna leave this swap out for now, along with the solar panels once they come in on Monday. Now we can plug in the batteries, see how they run. Need a battery input. There we go. Lock on it. The same to battery 2 and plug them into the hub. So it looks like we got power. They're both sitting at about 30% when they come in the box. Next thing we're gonna do is get our Ethernet bus cable, our RJ45, right here. I'll have to somehow hide some of this wire as it's very short distance to come right into the the side port of the hub. Here we go. So here is what the main screen looks like. Our battery. So yeah, there's our two 2-kilowatt units. Perfect. If I go back to system, we got our inputs, two solar ports. Obviously, we have nothing coming in there right now. We have the alternator, and then the output, how much we're using, the AC outlet. Maybe I'll plug something into it right here, see if that starts drawing down, but this is definitely nice to have. I'm gonna test out my little space fan, plugging her into this AC port. Okay, I'm gonna come over to the console. We're gonna go into our output. We're gonna turn the AC on. Here, click. There we go. There's our AC out indicator. Come back over to our console. Right now, that fan is pulling about 43 watts. Go back. Available time on both our batteries of 14 hours of straight run time. So now what I'm gonna do, just for fun, is test out the PV, the solar capabilities of the EcoFlow Powerkit. We're gonna run this just to test out to my little 100 watt EcoFlow flexible panel. It's a little overcast. Plug this in, just like that. You can hear the click, male to female. Hide that away from the cells so it doesn't block the sun. Take a look at what's happening. There we go. We're drawing in average 50 watts or so. Nope, coming down a bit. So guys, that's it for mounting the Powerkit. As you can see, it's quite straightforward, nice, simple, and easy. What we're gonna do now is get right into mounting the solar panels here on the showcase barn. I'll take you outside, run you through our measurements, and take you through some of the panel specifications. So guys, here's the barn. It is 281 inches long. Already got some markings for the panels up there. And our plan is to put 6 405 watt Canadian solar panels across this top ridge here, leaving us with about 4 inches of space on each side of the overhang. So here we have the Canadian Solar CS6R 405 MS HL. This module provides an efficiency of 20.7%. It is a 54 cell panel, and Canadian Solar offers a 25-year linear power performance warranty. I do like the look of the black frames, and you will see why when it gets up on the roof. Now I'm going to walk you through the solar panel racking solutions that I prefer to use during solar install. There are really 5 major components that go along with it, and it's quite straightforward. So this here is called an RT Mini 2 made by Rooftech. It is essentially the main anchorage point into your roof surface, and it can be used on many different roof surfaces. And as you can see at the bottom, it has a nice butyl tape to prevent any water leakage. So this component here is called an L-foot. This sits on top of the RT Mini, which is held down by a 1-inch flange nut through the center, and it gives you the ability to lower or raise your rail system, which I will touch on here next. So these here are the 14.5 foot aluminum rails, also made by Schletter. You can see that the L-foot hooks right into the bottom of the rail, which in the rail sits perpendicular to our solar panels. So this here is our mid and end clips, also made by Schletter. And as you can see, an example on the mid clip, it sits on the top channel of the rail, and it is screwed down to hold the 2 panels together. And then the end clip would sit on either end of the array. And last but not least, we have our Schletter splice bar, which connects 2 rail pieces together. And all you need to install is a simple self-tapping screw on each side of the rail. I'm going to go through the mapping of our solar array. So as you can see, I've already got the corner of the last panel chalked out. So we're going to go about 4 inches from the edge of the roof, as described before. So that marking there is where our RT Mini is going to lay out. Please ignore that other mark. We're about 12 inches from the top of the panel. So a foot is the way I like to do it. And you can follow the shingle line, and you want to be less than a foot horizontally from the edge of the panel as well. I do the same thing to the bottom rail. As you can see, I have that marked out. You want to be about 12 inches up from the bottom side of the panel. So now we'll go ahead and place our first RT Mini. Again, I like to be flush with the shingle line so everything is straight and even throughout. And then we will screw down our 5/16 deck screws into the prefab screw holes on the RT Mini. So we're looking good. Like I said, our panel is 67 3/4 inches long. We're gonna have a tad overhang on the bottom, but we are 12 inches from the RT Mini, which is our magic number. So now we'll place our L foots. You can do however you want, but there's a slot there in the RT Mini for the flange nut to go in. You can put the flange nut in first, then puncture through the L foot. I like to preset it so it's easier. And then if you do have an RT Mini that is off center, you can adjust the L foot accordingly to make your rails a little straighter. Okay, now that we've got our L feet on, we can go ahead and start installing the aluminum rails. So like I demonstrated before, there is a channel at the bottom of the rail which hooks into the clip of the L foot. And this barn roof does dip in the middle. So I do like how, as showing you there, how it can be adjusted up or down according to your roof structure. So I will have to keep it lower on the outsides, but there's the top rail on, keeping it nice and straight, and we'll make it look pretty. So I did jump a little ahead here on the wiring side, and I apologize for that. But right here is our negative lead or home run back to the power kit for string 1. Again, we have 2 strings, so 1215 watts or 3 panels per string. Check out this single line diagram here for reference. Again, the PV inputs on the power hub can only handle up to a maximum of 1600 watts at 150 volts DC. So we want to stay below those parameters. All right, now we've got our first 3 4 or 5 watt panels up and installed on the roof using our mid and end clamps. Again, these panels are strung up in a series configuration, so we're increasing the voltage, not the amperage, maintaining that 12-15 watt output. For best practice, I highly recommend zip tying your strings to the rail just to keep it away from the elements, although these wires are very well weatherproof. So now we got all 6 panels up and mounted. We're gonna cut the excess rail off the end of the array and get them all hooked up into the power hub. Here's what the overhang looks like from underneath the panels. And then I've got my 3/4 inch flexible conduit, which I drilled a hole through the outside wall, and that's feeding in beside the main power hub. Okay, so I jumped a little bit ahead on the install of the AC side of it. As you can see now, I have the second solar array hooked up, along with my conduit coming in. I did put a C-clamp on here, but I am gonna clean all this up, make it look a little more professional. I'll have a junction box set over top of the conduit and cut that down a bit. In the meantime, my electrician did wire up our breaker to the AC/DC smart distribution panel. So the conversion from grid power over to the AC/DC distribution panel was quite straightforward. It's 15 amp, it's completely isolated, you can see. This is now coming down through 14.2 wire into the AC/DC distribution panel. And yes, again, this is running about 6 circuits throughout the barn. Go ahead and start running a few appliances through the receptacles hooked into the AC/DC smart distribution panel, and see how the power kit holds up. We'll hook up this fridge, a small space heater, and a variety of other appliances. Oh, there's the compressor on the fridge. There's a small surge there up to about 600 watts that we missed. Fan kicking on. All right, so I know this heater is going to draw a lot of power. It is 1500 watts, but we're going to test it out anyway. All right. So we're on the highest setting at 30 degrees. There's the fan kicking back on. Pulling 1700 watts an hour. So it's only gonna last about 2 hours and 6 minutes. And there we go, there's my solar starting to keep up with the heater, which is exactly what we want. So we've got 9 hours with good sunlight conditions, pushing at about 21 degrees. Just to show you, when you turn the AC off Push this button. There goes the lights. I turn that back on. I hear the click. There we go. All right, guys, so it is now April 1st, 2024. Taking a long time to get back to recording the rest of this video and edit it. There's a couple things I've noticed since we installed the Powerkit since last spring. Panels on the north side of the barn. So that does not help in the winter whatsoever, especially with the lack of sunlight. It was not effective at all. We were losing battery power all winter, could barely keep the lights on. There's really no good recharging option other than having possibly our dual fuel generator. We're gonna go outside here in a second. I did a couple different modifications to the panels, such as adding about 4 more on the south facing side, along with the southwest facing direction. This has helped significantly by doing so. We'll take you out there right now. I did jump ahead a little bit on installing the other solar panels, but I will take you through the process on one of the panels I'm about to install and go from there. Here's a first look at our new south-facing panels up on the pergola, installed with a 45-degree angle bracket. And then over to the southwest side, I've got 2 other 405-watt panels installed with the same Schletter RT Mini racking system. So back over to touch on our 45-degree angled panel here. I was very impressed by this aluminum racking system. It doesn't require much to install whatsoever and very durable to support this 405-watt panel. I really like how adjustable the legs and the clips are to support whatever roof configuration. And you only need a 1/2 inch, a 6 millimeter, and of course a 5/16 socket to secure the footings. All right, so now we've got our second panel up and installed, looking good, all wired back to the Powerkit. And we'll go take a look on our monitor to see what these new panels are all producing. All right, big thanks to you all for stopping in and watching our first installation video of the 4 kilowatt EcoFlow Powerkit. I hope you enjoyed, and feel free to tune on into our channel, TRU Off Grid, for further installation videos and tips on solar and battery solutions. If you'd like to inquire about us installing a Powerkit or custom solution for you, feel free to reach out to us at sales@truoffgrid.com, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.